Market family, welcome back to my channel. So today for you guys, I have some Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs. Now I need to ask you guys a question. Let me know what you guys want to see in the upcoming month of December. Because usually in December, I still do some Christmas DIYs here and there, but I want to do Christmas related content you guys want to see. So please let me know what you want to see. I kind of need some ideas here because I'm like running out exactly of what to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it inspires you. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, make sure you subscribe. I'm really close to hitting 1 million subscribers and I would love to do that by the end of the year. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. With that being said, let's begin the video.
For our first DIY, we're going to be using the dowel houses from Dollar Tree. I went ahead and removed the trimming, doors, and windows from mine. Then I painted this a brown color by Rust-Oleum called Cocoa Bean. I use spray paint just because it dries more quickly. And then the green parts of my house, I painted red. I'll be using 5 houses total. I removed the roof off of 2 houses and then I removed the bottoms off of 2 houses. That way I can take these pieces and layer them on top of each other, creating a 2-story house. Once I have those pieces cut out, I glue the top portion with the roof onto the portion that doesn't have a roof. Then I fill in these pieces with the trimming and the painted doors and windows. I then glue these 2 separate pieces together. To do that, I had to remove these little pieces that are sticking out on the side together, and then I attach one more house to the very front of this. To make this look like a gingerbread house, I'm going to be using puff paint that I got from Dollar Tree. It's just paint that is puffy, so it ends up looking like icing. I used white, red, and green. Don't take this too seriously. If it's sloppy, that's okay. Usually gingerbread houses are hard to make perfect unless you have a really steady hand. This is how the gingerbread house turned out with just Dollar Tree products. I absolutely love this. I did a haunted house using the dowel houses from Dollar Tree during Halloween, and once I did that, I knew I had to create a gingerbread house using these houses. You can take this up a notch by going to Hobby Lobby. They have a bunch of miniatures that are perfect for this. I got some Christmas light bulbs, gumdrop garland, and I just glue it to the front, and this is how it turned out with the Hobby Lobby stuff. This is really fun to do, and you can do this in place of an actual gingerbread house and keep it for years to come. For our next DIY, we're going to be using the wooden boxes with drawers from Dollar Tree. Now, no two are alike. You can see here, one is bigger than the other, but I find that if the drawers have the same design on the front, they're more likely to be similar to each other. Now I'm going to take some wood glue and I'm going to glue my boxes to each other. I'm using 20 boxes total. You can use as little or as many as you like. We're going to be creating an advent calendar. I've done advent calendars on my channel before, but I wanted to make one that looks like these really pretty ones that I see online, which are made of more natural wooden colors. I then flip around the drawers that are inside of the boxes so that the solid wood part is showing, and that way I can glue on some wood beads. You can use different handles and different knobs. I'm just using wood beads because they're inexpensive. I also painted them white off camera. From Dollar Tree, I picked up some DIY wood pieces. I really like this DIY 3D craft kit. I like the pieces a lot because of the 3D look to it. Now I'm trying to mimic the Scandinavian advent calendar that is mainly natural wood and then more muted down colors. I am going to be adding some red to this, however. So some pieces you're obviously going to have to paint, and that's what I did. I used mainly white, green, red, and brown, and then I ended up adding some gray. After painting your pieces, you are going to glue them to the top of your boxes. I also added on some gingerbread men. I'll share with you guys how I made those shortly. And then I used my Cricut to cut out some numbers on some vinyl, and that's what I used to label my boxes. You can always paint these on or use a marker. Since I have a Cricut, it's going to come out better than my handwriting, so I rather do that. And that's how I created this advent calendar. I've done this before, like I said, and I'll link that video down below for you guys. In that one, I did a Christmas tree advent calendar. I love our next DIY. From Dollar Tree, you're going to pick up 2 of their felt ornament kits that have the gingerbread shape. You're then going to place those 2 gingerbreads on top of each other. Now I got a needle that has a big eye of the needle and yarn that I feed through the needle and start sewing the yarn through the gingerbread men. I do not know how to sew, you guys. I know nothing about it, and I was able to do this. I was just putting holes through and looping it around. I made sure that I initially had a lot of yarn to feed through the first hole, just because I knew that once I started doing this, it was going to be hard to keep feeding the yarn through. So I don't know if that makes sense, but you can see what I'm doing. Once you get toward the end of sewing up your gingerbread man, you're going to stop because you're going to feed that little hole that's left with some polyfiber. I recommend going to Walmart and getting one of their pillows and then just opening up and using that instead of buying the polyfiber on its own. It's more expensive to do it that way. It's cheaper to just buy a pillow and grab from the pillow. So I fill the gingerbread man up with that polyfiber, and then I go ahead and finish sewing up the other end. And once it's all closed, I take the 2 pieces of yarn that are going to be left, I tie them together in the back, and that's it. These gingerbread men come with little felt pieces that you use to decorate the gingerbread men. I went ahead and decorated mine with those felt pieces by hot gluing them on. The other thing you could do is take the puff paint and go over the felt with that, because puff paint is just fabric paint. It's going to stay on top of the fabric. So I did that with another gingerbread man. I just used the white puff paint. I made a gingerbread man with just the felt, one with the puff paint, and then another one that was a combination of felt and puff paint. This is how they turned out. They're just cute little accent pillows. So basically it's not a real throw pillow. It's just to decorate essentially your couch versus, you know, actually laying your head on top of. It could also be a doll that an older kid can play with. You don't want to give this to a baby. For the next DIY, we are going to be using a bamboo cutting board and some paint pens. I'm using Painter's paint pens that I got from Walmart. I like these because they have a fine point, and the Dollar Tree ones don't normally have that fine point. So what I did is I took a cup and used it as a guide to create a circle, and I did 3 circles. I then thickened up those circles with my paint pen, and then I started to add some words and drawings. So basically I'm doing these Santa cookie trays that are super popular right now, and lots of times people want to know how they can do things without the Cricut, and I always recommend paint pens or Dollar Tree stickers and rub-on transfers. If you're using paint pens or Dollar Tree stickers and rub-on transfers, you're going to want to use this as either decoration only, and if you are going to stick food on top of this, you're not going to be able to wash it without taking off some of the paint. You just have to do it very carefully. And when you place the food and drinks on top of this, you just want to make sure it's not hitting the paint. Otherwise, you can't really eat the food, because you don't really want to eat food that's touched paint that isn't like sealed in. So anyways, this is how this one turned out. This one's easy to do, like I said, if you do not have a Cricut, but if you have a Cricut, you can go ahead and use that. I went to Etsy and I typed in Santa cookie tray and was able to find a bunch of SVGs. So I went ahead and I cut one out on some vinyl and I placed that on top of my bamboo board. This is permanent vinyl, and I'll be able to use this for years to come if I decide to actually put food on this, because I would be able to wash it without stuff just coming off. This is another really popular DIY that's going around right now. So what you'll do is you get a fake security camera from Dollar Tree. I've seen people use clear ornaments to do this too if you cannot find it. And what you'll do is you'll take your paint pens and write on it Santa's cam. And then at the very bottom, you could put property of the North Pole. And this is just a fun little cute idea that you can give to your children to pretend Santa's watching them during the month of December, so they're on their best behavior. If you do not have good penmanship, you can always ask somebody else to paint over this. Or again, you can use letter stickers, especially since this isn't something that's going to have food on top of it. I think it pairs really well with the little elf dolls from Dollar Tree, or like the elf on the shelf. You can give your kid one of the elves with this little camera during the month of December. It's just a cute idea. Another cute Santa cam idea is to use the snow globes from Dollar Tree. They carry 2 different sizes. I recommend getting the biggest one for this one. I'm going to use my paint pen to write Santa cam, add a little hat, and then draw some dots on. If you have the Cricut, really just use the Cricut. I mean, unless you have really, really good handwriting. Otherwise, it's a little difficult in my opinion sometimes. Now inside of the cap, I am going to glue down some of the miniature trees from Dollar Tree. For my fake snow, I'm using a duster from Dollar Tree. I just cut a piece of the duster off and glue it down. And then I added a little present. Dollar Tree carries these, but the one I'm using is from Hobby Lobby. And then I go ahead and twist back on the cap. Now I'm taking this wide angle smartphone lens that I picked up from Dollar Tree. You'll find this in the electronics section, mixed amongst all the charger cords And what you'll do is you'll twist that piece off and glue it to the front of your globe. If you can't find this, you can make something out of construction paper. You know what? I'll link it down in the description box below for you guys. MUNEE, she's another Dollar Tree DIYer here on YouTube. I know that she couldn't find the lens and she made it out of something else, and I can't remember what it was, and I don't even want to say, otherwise you won't check her out. So I'll link her down below for you guys, and you can check it out if you can't find the lens. So this is how the globe came out. Really cute. I really wanted to make some fake gingerbread men. So from Dollar Tree, I picked up this air dry clay. You'll also need a cookie cutter in the shape of a gingerbread man. I got this one from Target for $1. After buying it though, shortly at Dollar Tree, I had found some plastic ones. So they do have them at Dollar Tree. What you'll do is take your air dry clay and roll it out using a rolling pin, and you'll keep rolling till the air dry clay gets pretty smooth. You still might have some cracks because that's just how the Dollar Tree one is. And once you've had it rolled out and smoothed out, you can then take your cookie cutter, place it through the air dry clay, remove any excess clay around the outside, and then you're left with a gingerbread man. On the packaging, it says it takes at least 24 hours for the air dry clay to dry up. So once I had it all dried up, I then go in with my puff paint and then I just decorate my little gingerbread men. It's literally like decorating them in real life, except I'm using puff paint instead of icing. It's just the exact same concept. I made 6 total with the air dry pack that I got from Dollar Tree, and this is how they came out. They're so cute. I did have some cracking in the air dry clay, but that's kind of how it works with the Dollar Tree one, even when you smooth it out with water. Moving right along to our next DIY. From Dollar Tree, I picked up these chunky slats. Now I'm using 2 10-inch slats and 5 8-inch slats. What I do is I glue a 10-inch slat to an 8-inch slat, and I do this 2 times. And these are going to be the sides of my ladder. Then I take the other 3 8-inch slats and I glue them on to be the steps of the ladder. Now I ended up painting my ladder white initially, and I didn't like the way that they look, so then I went back with some red paint and painted the ladder red. I'm gonna make a mini wreath for my ladder. I got these miniature ornaments from Dollar Tree and I glued them together, creating a circle form. I also added some really small green ornaments that I got from Hobby Lobby. And once I have that wreath all done, I then glue that to the top of my ladder. Decorate your ladder however you like. I got this ornament from Dollar Tree and I glued that onto the middle step, and then at the bottom I added one of these bottle brush trees, and I'll show you how I did this in just a second. Now I have this miniature little ladder that I can use for my decor, and I have to say this, Hobby Lobby has this cute wreath ornament and you can buy it for $2 right now, half off, and you can use that instead of making your own, which I like it a lot. This is how I did the bottle brush tree. It's an easy hack. From Dollar Tree, pick up glitter vase fillers, and then you're also going to pick up some of their bottle brush trees. All you got to do is glue the vase filler on top of the trees, and it makes it look like there's tiny little ornaments inside of the trees. It's an easy way to glam up your little trees and really make them match your decor. Moving right along, we're going to be using the Dollar Tree wood shapes that are shaped like gingerbread men. There are 14 in a pack. Now what I did is I painted my gingerbread men a brown color. I had to mix 2 different browns together, and then I used my puff paint to obviously make it more detailed, and I just used white, red, green, and black to do this. I'm going to be turning my gingerbread men into little magnets. To do this, I'm using Dollar Tree magnets. They carry 2 different sizes. I'm going with the smaller size. So all I have to do is flip my gingerbread over and then use my hot glue gun to glue the magnets to the back of my gingerbread men. Now I'm going to take this silver platter from Dollar Tree and place my gingerbread men on top of it. They just stick directly to the platter. And then I add some magnets to the back of my platter. And I just made one big magnet for my refrigerator, and it works really well with my Christmas candy theme kitchen. You can take this up a notch by just putting the names of family and friends underneath the gingerbread men. That's a really cute idea, and it would be a great gift. We're going to be making some Christmas magic bottles. From Dollar Tree, you need some craft bottles. Inside of one of the bottles, I'm adding the Gingerbread Men that you just saw me make. And this time around, I'm gluing them together and placing them inside of the bottle. I didn't want to just throw them inside of there because they may lie flat and you don't see the details of them. So instead, I glue some together and then place that inside of the bottle. In our next bottle, I'm going to add some bells. These are from Dollar Tree. I got 3 different colors. I'm trying to recreate some Target Bullseye Playground Christmas bottles that are very popular this year and flying off of the shelves. So I'm doing that using Dollar Tree products. If you know what bottles I'm talking about, let me know down in the comments below, and you know what I'm talking about. They're really hard to find. Inside of our next bottle, I pour in some of this fake snow from Dollar Tree, and this is just a snow bottle. For our next bottle, you have an option here. If you're doing Dollar Tree, you can pick up this little kitchen cuisine kid toy and use the carrot that's inside of there. I ended up painting the carrot because it's too vibrant for me, so I went over it with a more toned down orange color and green color, and you can place those inside of the bottle. Or you can go to Hobby Lobby, and if you're lucky, in the miniature section you'll be able to find some carrots possibly. I have these carrots left over from Easter, and I placed those inside of my bottle. I prefer this versus the Dollar Tree carrots. Moving right along, in the next bottle we are going to place some of these miniature Christmas trees. I glue 3 of them down to the bottom of the bottle and add a little bit of that fake snow from Dollar Tree. I got some mini gifts to put inside of another bottle. I got these ones from Hobby Lobby, but Dollar Tree also carries them. It's just when I did this DIY, Dollar Tree hadn't gotten those in yet. For my Christmas wish list bottle, I'm going to be using this stationery paper that I got from Michael's. I cut some little pieces, roll them up, and tie them around with some twine. You can just use paper and write stuff on top of it if you like, but I just went this route because it was easy. Now I created these labels. I'll try to remember to link them down below for you guys. I printed them out on sticker paper, and I'm just using scissors to cut them out and place them on the front of my bottles. I made these labels similar to the ones that are at Target. So I have Santa snacks, pint-sized presents, Christmas wish list, reindeer food, Christmas cheer, snowballs. It's just very similar to what Target has. The final thing I did was take some twine and wrap it around the top of my bottles just to add a little something something. And how cute are these? You can use them inside of a tier tray. If you have a tiny little shelf inside of your kitchen, these would be really cute. I just really like the ones that Target had, but I couldn't find them, so I decided to make them myself. If you went the route of using the carrots from Dollar Tree, do not toss that little cutting board that comes with the toy kit. You can go ahead and use this for DIY. So what I ended up doing was painting my cutting board a brown color. Since I used an acrylic paint to do this, I had to do a couple of layers and wait in between each layer for the paint to dry before adding another layer. Once I had that initial brown color down, I took a dry brush in a light brown color and went over it to give it a wood grain appearance. A dry brush is just a brush that hasn't been dipped into water or anything, and it has some bristles to it, and you just go over it lightly, and that gives you the wood appearance. I painted the handle black of that knife that came inside of the toy kit, and I'm going to place that on top of the cutting board. I then took some Gingerbread Men, I cut one in half and put it around the knife, and then I placed 2 at the top and the bottom. When I have them placed in the position that I want, I then glue them down. And now I have this little cute piece that I can use inside of a tier tray or even as a magnet on top of the refrigerator. I love decorating with mini wreaths during the holiday season, especially on my cabinets in the kitchen. Now I love ornament wreaths, but they are expensive, so we're going to make our own. From Dollar Tree, you'll pick up some of the wreath forms. Since I'm making mini ones, I'm using the mini wreath forms that come in a 2-pack. You'll also pick up some ornaments. I'm using these mini ornaments from Dollar Tree, and I'm using red and gold ones. So all you have to do is glue your ornament to the wreath form. Now I highly recommend gluing your ornaments down on that wreath form and also to each other, because that's going to make this more sturdy. They can be easy to knock off of the wreath form, but if the ornaments are glued to any ornament that is touching nearby, it makes this more sturdy. Oh my gosh, you guys, I've said ornament so many times in this video, but I don't know what you want me to call them. That's what I always say every single year. Like, I have to say it so many times, but if I called them anything else, like, what am I supposed to call them? Those little pretty balls. Okay, that makes why. I glue them all around my wreath form, and then I add a little red bow to this. Now you can leave it just at that. That's the cheapest way to do this. But I want to cover up any of the wire that is showing in between the ornaments, so I added ornaments wherever that little green wire was showing. And then I placed my bow on top of that, and I like this much better. To hang them on top of my cabinets, I just put command strips and then put them right there, and you can see how pretty they come out. If you have a bigger kitchen, it always looks so pretty when you have the wreaths on top of the cabinets. I mean, I have a small kitchen, it still looks nice. Here's a real easy hack. From Dollar Tree, pick up their white furry scarves, and you can use this as fake snow. So what you'll do is you'll get something shaped like a tree. I got this paper mache cone at Hobby Lobby for $1.99. If you're lucky, at half off, it's just $1. What you'll do is you'll cut down the center of your scarf. It's a loop scarf, so you'll cut it like down, and then you'll cut little strips that you'll then glue around your cone. Now, if you do not want to get the cone from Hobby Lobby, you can always get one of the birthday hats from Dollar Tree and use that as your base. You can also roll together poster board. As you're gluing, make sure that the ends to each piece match up, because that'll probably be the back side of the tree, part of the tree you don't want anybody to see. So make sure they just kind of line up all in one spot. You can also get the tinsel trees from Dollar Tree, remove the tinsel and use the base. So that's what I did with this one. I removed the tinsel and used that base to glue on pieces of my scarf. I'm then left with these really pretty snow Christmas trees that only cost me $4 to make. I don't even know if I want to call the next DIY because it's easy. Dollar Tree right now has these clay ornaments that look just like the ornaments you get at a kiosk in the mall or the Christmas stores in the mall where people customize them. So get yourself the clay ornaments and then a fine point Sharpie at Dollar Tree, and you can customize these. You can use them on your tree or as gifts. What I recommend doing is when you're writing down a word or a name, start with the middle letters and then work your way out. That way you have the word perfectly centered. Usually if I start with the first letter and then I just work my way to the last letter, lots of times my word ends up being off-centered. But if you start with those middle letters, you're good to go. You see, so easy that I don't even know if I want to call this a DIY, but it looks just like the stuff you get at the mall. Don't overlook the Dollar Tree magnets. I have these cute Grinch ornaments, and I wanted them to be magnets so bad. So what I did is I just removed the string off the back of my ornaments and then glue the magnets to the back of them, and then I have new Grinch ornaments. Do not skip on those things, you guys. I wanted to reshare that because you don't even have to decorate your entire kitchen. You just put like a Christmas magnet on the front of your refrigerator and it looks so cute. Dollar Tree right now is carrying these little metal houses. They have a galvanized one and then these green and red ones. And you can use these to make little gingerbread homes. This time around I'm using Hobby Lobby items. So I have these flat Christmas tree lights that I just go ahead and glue on the top of my homes. And I got these mini wreaths at Hobby Lobby as well, and I glued those to the front of my house. I then added some puff paint because of course that's how I make it look like gingerbread anything, and I just placed that wherever I want. I also added some Gingerbread Men stickers that I got from Hobby Lobby, and that's how I made it suit the decor that I needed it to suit. So if those don't really necessarily match your decor, don't skip over them. You can always take them and change them to fit what you need. That's it for these Dollar Tree Christmas DIYs. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and that you're inspired to create. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.